Hey guys, and welcome to another reading for 24 hours. So I've already kind of decided in the past that I'm not going to make myself do a 24-hour readathon and try to stay awake for 24 hours reading because it wouldn't be beneficial for my life or my reading. So instead, I time myself, and every time I'm reading, I have my timer going, and whenever I stop to take a break or eat or whatever, I stop the timer. So I end up reading over the course of, last time I think it was about 4 days, but for almost exactly 24 hours. And it's kind of a nice challenge just to see how much I can actually read in 24 hours. So theoretically, if I were to read for 24 hours and not take any breaks whatsoever, this is what I could read. I know it's a bit of a weird way of doing it, but I definitely just can't do the traditional 24 hours straight. It's not happening. First, I kind of want to share the TBR I've sort of set. I'm not one to normally stick to TBRs, but these are kind of what I feel like reading at the moment. So first, I borrowed Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew on Libby. I'm going to be listening to the audiobook, and this one is perfect because my boyfriend and I recently just did a small little renovation to our bathroom, so the rest of my house has been super neglected and it's messy, so it will be great to just pop in my earbuds and do some much needed cleaning. Then I'm going to be reading Set on You by Amy Lee on my Kobo. This one is just a cutesy little romance. I don't know anything about it except it's going to be a romance that's kind of either they meet at the gym or they build a relationship at the gym. I have no idea, but it looks cute. I have it on my Kobo already, so I'm going to read that one. Then I want to read Misery by Stephen King. I definitely am in the mood for like a thriller or something, and this one is apparently about an author who gets stranded with one of his like biggest fans who ends up holding him captive. That's all I really know about it, but apparently it's really freaky. It's one of Stephen King's older works, and I've been meaning to read this one for a while, and it sounds really terrifying, so I definitely think this will keep me reading for a long period of time. Then I want to read another poetry collection because it's been a few weeks since I've read any poetry, so I'm hoping to read poetry by Sappho. This is just a short little poetry collection. I've never read any Sappho before, so it is about time that I do. And then if I get through all that, or if I get through part of that and feel like picking up a graphic novel, I am forcing myself to finally pick up book 2 of Monstrous. I read book 1 last year, and I really need to read this one before I forget what happened, because I've already kind of forgotten what happened, to be honest with you. Definitely not my favorite graphic novel series. I just find there's a lot of politics in it, so that's not my favorite. I definitely need to read this, so I'm gonna kind of push myself to read it, even though I'm kind of not in the mood to. I feel like I'm never going to be in the mood to, so I just need to like force myself to at this point. So anyways, I'm gonna start by putting in my earbuds and cleaning in this room, and then going around the rest of my house. I probably won't film much of it just because I'd feel really awkward filming myself cleaning a lot, but I have a lot of cleaning to do. So if I get through this audiobook and I'm still not done a lot of my cleaning, I might just end up borrowing another audiobook. I have no idea. Anyways, let us start the 24 hours.
Hachette Audio presents Born with Teeth, a memoir, written and read by Kate Mulgrew.
So I am now 5 hours and 30 minutes into reading for 24 hours, and I am, I think, 3/4 of the way done Kate Mulgrew's autobiography, Born with Teeth. And there is a lot of stuff I did not know about Kate Mulgrew. I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot about her personal life going into this. I know her from obviously Star Trek Voyager and Orange is the New Black, and I think I've seen her in a couple of other things as well, but those are like the two main things that I know her from, and she has been through a lot. If you decide to pick up this book, I definitely recommend checking the content warnings first. It's really good so far, super captivating. She's a great storyteller, and I feel like her narration is very well done as well. I'm definitely enjoying it so far. I've been cleaning for 5.5 hours though. I cleaned this office, and then I cleaned my cat's room and closet and a bathroom, and now I'm just waiting for a carpet to dry that I just shampooed. So I figured I'd just actually sit down and physically read for a little while. I kind of feel like I need a break from cleaning. So I popped myself a bowl of popcorn, and I think I'm gonna start Monstrous Book 2. I don't know why, but I actually kind of feel like picking this one up out of everything on my little TBR right now, so I am going to start this one. So I'm now at 6 hours and 46 minutes into 24 hours of reading. I didn't read much more last night after I last talked to you, but I did pick up Monstrous, and I'm about halfway now, I think. I'm on page 285 out of 500 and something, and it's definitely reminding me about why I didn't really care for the first volume, and it's very confusing. There is a lot of gore. There's also cannibalism, which is something that disturbs me very deeply, so definitely not my favorite. If anything, this reading for 24 hours is giving me the motivation I need to finish this so then I can just be done with it. Right now, I definitely still have a lot more cleaning to do today, so I think I'm gonna finish Kate Mulgrew's autobiography, and then I also just checked out Wildflower by Drew Barrymore on Libby. Whenever I do finish Born with Teeth, I'm going to start Wildflower because I definitely have more than like 2 hours of cleaning left, and I think I only have 2 more hours left of her autobiography. So yeah, I'm gonna do that again today, and then hopefully I'll also finish Monstrous. So I'm now 10 hours and 45 minutes in, and I finished Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew. I highly recommend that one if you are a Star Trek Voyager fan, or you liked her in Orange is the New Black, or maybe you know her from something else. I know she's done a lot. Yeah, if you like Kate Mulgrew, I highly recommend this. Definitely learned a lot about her that I didn't know, and it was very lyrically written. She did a really impeccable job narrating it as well. She did like voices and accents and such for different people, so that was really well done. And then I started and am now about a quarter of the way through Drew Barrymore's Wildflower, and I'm really liking this one so far as well. It's definitely a different tone than Born with Teeth, and it took me a couple minutes to get into it just because it's a very different narration style. Drew Barrymore is so funny. One minute she has me like holding back tears, and then the next minute she has me busting a gut laughing. So it's definitely a really good listen so far, and I definitely recommend that one if you like Drew Barrymore. And the format with how it's written is definitely very interesting. So I'm enjoying that so far. And then I finally finished book 2 of Monstrous. This one I definitely do not recommend to everybody. I myself did not particularly like it. I wish I did, honestly. I feel like I'm missing out on not liking it. The art style is really cool, but I found it very confusing at times. There's a lot of politics, and I'm not really big into that. And then, like, you know, there's a lot of disturbing scenes in it as well. So definitely not my favorite, and I'm glad that I have finished that one because I am over it. So now I think I'm just going to probably curl up in my office here with my cat, apparently, and read some poetry by Sappho. I'm not sure if I'm going to sit down and read the whole thing. It's very short poems, so I feel like it's going to be a really quick read, but I'm going to start this right now and then just read it until I feel like picking up one of the other books on my TBR. So I'm now 11 hours and 13 minutes in, and I just finished this collection of poems by Sappho that was translated by Mary Barnard. This definitely did not take long to read. In fact, a lot of the poems are only like 3 to 4 lines, so I went through it pretty quickly, but I must say I really loved this. If you love poetry and you haven't checked out any Sappho yet, specifically this one because I can't speak for other translations, highly recommend. Very lyrical, and I actually just kind of kept my bookmark on 2 poems that I really love. So the first one is poem 53, with his venom, irresistible and bittersweet, that loosener of limbs, love, reptile-like, strikes me down. I really loved that one. Then the other one is poem 87, and it's, we know this much, death is an evil, we have the gods' word for it. They too would die if death were a good thing. That one was really thought-provoking for me, and I actually read it 3 times, and I'm like, wow, I don't know what else to say. Just very thought-provoking. A lot of her poems were very thought-provoking, and I definitely really enjoyed this and highly recommend it. So now I'm kind of torn because part of me wants to start Misery by Stephen King. Then another part of me thinks maybe I should go a little lighter and start Set on You. I don't know. I don't know the vibe that I'm feeling right now. Honestly, I feel like Misery. I'm gonna start Misery by Stephen King. I don't know, I really feel like reading a thriller right now that I won't want to put down. So I feel like this is the book. So I guess I am going to start Misery. So I'm now at 15 hours and 20 minutes. I was doing a little bit more just organizing and cleaning today, and I got 50% of the way through listening to Wildflower. Really enjoying this one. It's definitely a different narration style, and I don't think everyone would love it just because Drew literally screams sometimes, and it can be a bit jarring while you're listening to it, but I'm really liking it. It's very upbeat and fast-paced. I will say though that there are points where she's describing the loss of a pet and the loss of a parent, so that can be a little difficult to listen to. I literally held back tears for some of it, so definitely be aware of that if you are interested in this one. And then I read to page 131 of Misery by Stephen King last night, and I'm really loving this one so far as well. It is super fast-paced, and I did not even realize I got past page 100 until it said I was on part 2, and I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I should stop for the night. But this book is super high stakes and suspenseful, and you're constantly wondering what the heck could happen next. Within the first 30 pages, I thought that it was at the worst it was going to get, and I was kind of thinking, how is this going to keep going? And it does. And it's not super duper horrific, so if horror is not really your thing but you want to try out a Stephen King, this one would definitely be a good one to try. So now I think I'm just going to sit here for a little while and read some more Misery. So I'm now 22 hours and 9 minutes into reading for 24 hours. I just finished Wildflower by Drew Barrymore. I read some of it, or rather listened to some of it last night while I was doing a little puzzle, and then I just listened to the last little bit of it while I was folding a bit of laundry, and I really enjoyed this one, and I'm super glad I picked it up because it was a really nice change in pace while reading some of the other novels during this 24 hours. And then last night I also got to page 328 of Misery by Stephen King, and I'm going to take this opportunity to formally retract the statement I made earlier, or rather yesterday, about this not being super horrific. It is. It's very gory, so I didn't think it was going to be as graphic and horrific as some of his other novels. and I was very wrong. Yeah, so just scratch that from the record. This is scary. If you don't like scary, I don't recommend this one, but if you do like scary, it's very good. I definitely didn't want to put it down last night, but it was getting really close to when I was going to sleep, and I didn't want this to be what I was thinking about before falling asleep, so I made the decision to kind of stop. But now I've got a little less than 100 pages left of this, and I've got a little less than 2 hours left on the clock, and so I think I'm going to try to finish Misery in that time. I'm now at 23 hours and 43 minutes, and I just finished Misery by Stephen King. This book was the perfect book to choose for reading for 24 hours and trying to read quite a bit over the course of 4 days, because I did not want to put this down until the very end. So now I've only got like 17 minutes left, right? Yes. So I thought instead of picking up a brand new novel, I would instead just pick up Fangs by Sarah Anderson and just do a reread of this. I think the last time I read it, it only took about 20 minutes. I've been wanting to reread this one for a while now, and I feel like it would be the perfect book to kind of take my mind off of the content of Misery. So I'm going to read this for the last 17 minutes. So I just hit 24 hours. Reading Fangs turned out to be absolutely perfect. I finished Fangs like seconds before the timer ran out. Overall, this was a very successful 24 hours for me. I ended up finishing 6 books. Exactly 6 books, actually. So I read Born with Teeth by Kate Mulgrew, Monstrous Book 2, a poetry collection of Sappho, Wildflower by Drew Barrymore, Misery by Stephen King, and Fangs by Sarah Anderson. I'm super happy with how this turned out. Yeah, this was once again a really fun challenge for myself. It's something that I can't do all the time because I do work full-time, but it's nice when I have time off to just kind of give myself this little challenge and really focus on reading for a few days of my vacation from work. So I'm really happy that I did it, and it's definitely something I hope to do again in the future. But I think I'm going to leave this one here. I hope you all have a great rest of your week and happy reading.